Hi, it's Cara from carawild.com. I wanted to talk with you a bit today about channeling. So, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is when people first hear that I'm a channel and what I do, they're just most of the time it's like, oh my God, that must be so amazing. You must have some really out of this world experiences when you're a channel. And that's true, and that's really, really fun. But they're kind of like, well, how practical is it? How much impact does it have on your daily life, when you're out and about doing your daily activities? And I was just beginning to think that actually people might really miss out on how practical channeling can be. So there's a really, really good example coming up soon of how working with Aurora in the moment of me wanting to achieve a goal really, really helped me. But let me first of all just tell you about some of the other day-to-day ways that I use channeling to enrich my life and to benefit my life. So there's a really obvious one that when I'm in a lower vibe than I want to be, then just the actual act of going into a channeling state, calling their energy to me, and merging my energy with them is like an instant upgrade of my vibration. So I can start my day off like that. I don't always remember to, when you're in that kind of low vibe. Um, but that's a practical use that is available to me. The other ones are when I'm walking around about town and I call their energy to me and I ask to see life through their eyes, and it completely changes everything because all that they see is the beauty. So especially as an empath, if I'm struggling in crowds or busy places, then if I call their energy to me, it's not so much that it acts like a cloak, in that way that we're told as empaths to protect our energies, but it's more that it takes me into a perspective and a physical dimension where there is only beautiful things to be seen. So it's easier to see the truth with a capital T, which is love. So it really helps me as an empath. It's interesting to take them out and about with me in the car to get their perspective and just have a conversation with them in my head, which you can do really easily once you get to know your guide's vibe compared to yours. So quite often I can ask them, think about my perspective on a subject and then ask them their perspective and just have like that different conversation. And my partner particularly likes it when we're going on long journeys and I channel while we're in the car. And so, we can have quite interesting discussions when we're traveling in the car, but we're quite philosophical and we love metaphysics and having conversations like that. But I wanted to give you an example of how you can use a connection with a guide in a really empowering way. So this is really good for if you've got what I call soul's goals that you want to start living in your life. So a soul's goal to me is something that stretches you way outside of your comfort zone, probably outside of your current self-image, but that's just really exciting and thrilling. So as you probably know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that running is something that Aurora's already always encouraged me to do. And one of my soul goals is happening this year. And I'm going to be running the Snowdon Trail Marathon. So this is when the incident I'm going to talk about is when I was traveling for training for my first half marathon. I'd only ever run a 6 mile race before, and I was on my last training run before my marathon. And I'd set myself a goal of going out and running for 10 miles, which was quite a stretch for me. And at that time I wasn't really aware, but any runner now who I speak to knows that when you first go out and run, that that first 6 miles is really, first 5 or 6 miles you can feel off. You can just feel like you're never going to run this race. You're not running properly. You feel alien in your body. Not always, but quite often runs are just like that. And then all of a sudden you just get into your flow. And on this particular day, I had been running for 5 miles and I could not find my flow. So like I said, it's not just for running. This, you can use this working with your guide in this way for any goal that you've got. This just happens to be, I was trying to find the flow in my running. You could be trying to find the flow in your relationship with your weight or your body, or it could be your business. It could be all sorts of different goals. It could be your parenting, anything. It's the same process. So because I was struggling, what was happening was my mindset was beginning to crumble. So it was that critical self-talk that came in, that, what do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Why did you think that you could achieve this goal? My God, you're just going to make such a fool of yourself. You're not going to be able to do this. You might as well pack it in now. Why did you choose to do this? And what made you think that running was going to be fun in the first place? Not ideal circumstances for keeping going. So I called in Aurora, and they're what I call my cosmic cheerleaders when I get to this place, and I asked them for some guidance. Now, they'll never tell me, they tell me that I can do it, but they won't tell me that I will do it. They kind of help me create conditions where I can empower myself. So when I called Aurora in as I was running along in the rain, and I was asking for their help, they kind of really gently reminded me that I chose this for myself. I really wanted to give this a go. That I really enjoyed running, and that's why I'd chosen this goal for myself. I wanted to see what I was capable of. I wanted to stretch myself. I wanted to see what I could do with my body. I'd got a new relationship with my body that wasn't about weight and how it looked. It was about performance, and I'd really started to get intrigued by that. And I just loved the feeling of how my body moved when I was doing exercise or running. And as they kind of reminded me of that, my whys, then I could feel my body started to change position into, wasn't necessarily an ideal running position, because I don't think I really knew what that was at the time, but it was a body position of dignity. And that's what their compassion can do. It gives you back your dignity. So I'm starting to think, okay, yeah, they're right. I really did want to do this. How can I support myself? How can I do this? What do I need to do? This was fun and I really liked it. And so my vibe was going in that direction. My mindset had shifted and I was getting more and more pumped up. And I was thinking, but I'm still really tired. My body is dragging already. I'm barely halfway there. I've never run this before. Where am I going to get this fuel from? And I kind of knew it wasn't food that I needed. So I asked Aurora again, and what they came through with is, look at your surroundings. Look at nature. Look at how beautiful the place is that you're running, and let that appreciation feed your energy system, which will then feed your body's energy system. Use what's around you. So I started paying attention. I'm really lucky. I live in a beautiful place in the UK, in Cornwall. I was running along the trail path on the coast. I could see the ocean. I'd gone into a position of dignity. I started being appreciative and really fueling my run with appreciation and just feeling so grateful for the opportunity. And I did feel more enthused, and that seemed to feed my body in some way. And I felt lighter, and my running became stronger and more secure. And so, it wasn't like Aurora was coming in and just giving me this, you can do it, and giving me this like magic energy from somewhere. It's all using the resources that we have around us all of the time. And then as I was feeling empowered and I was like thinking, yeah, I can do this. This is okay, right? Let's just see what happens for the next mile and the next mile and the next mile. And, ultimately I want to do endurance runs. So this was really good training. That's what you need to do. My ex-father-in-law used to say, just the next lamppost, then next lamppost, then next lamppost. And that's the same for any goal, isn't it? Just that consistency. So I'm like really getting into my flow. And then the best bit, this is just once you start opening yourself up as a channel, you get to see the non-physical all of the time, wherever you are. And if you're psychic, that's going to be happening to you anyway. But they just kind of, Aurora just went, and there's so many more cheerleaders for you. You've got an army of angels on your side. And I could just see all these non-physical light beings cheering me on. And I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but it was really real and extremely vivid. And what that made me realize is having them champion me made me take my goal more seriously, because I think sometimes when we think of guides, we think of like these lofty ideals. And so to get support on something like a running goal, so really when there's all this like poverty and wars, and aren't they going to be a bit busy? Aren't they going to think that I'm being a bit frivolous in my goals? And just that's just not the case. They really want to support us in growing and experiencing more joy and achievement and satisfaction and nourishment from life. There's more not light beings available to us. There's so much of them that they can really support. They can have teams supporting one person, and it still mean that every single person is supported. So I did go on, and I finished my 10 miles, and I did go on, and I did do my first half marathon, and was really happy with that. And so continue to use the same process in my training runs, and use Aurora as my cosmic cheerleader and my guide, and my coach, really, in a lot of things that I do. So I hope that's given you a flavour of some real practical things that that channeling can help you with. It is practical, they're here to help us live our lives in whatever way that we want to do that, and they can offer us support and guidance. So if you want to experience your own cosmic cheerleading, and you want to connect with Aurora and get your own coaching, then just hop on over to the website and have a look at what's available, and just see for yourself whether that's something that you want to do. Okay, I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.